Hello and welcome to another episode of me painting again. Oh yes, we're painting again and my palette has got a lot of paint on it. Well, my plate. Oh dear, oh dear. But I tell you what, we need some green. Green and blue gouache. I'm using mostly gouache these days rather than the watercolour, but I do throw it in as well sometimes. It's just I find at the moment, because I paint quite quick, really, let's be honest. I paint quicker than I need to. It's just because of filming. You don't want to paint too slow and your video lasts for hours and hours. So I do paint fairly quick, and I find the gouache, it covers better than the watercolour. But I'm not saying to follow me on that. Just try it out, see what you think. Need a bit more water in the paint. It's a bit of green, bit of blue, bit of white. It's a faded, muted colour because we're painting the background. And I want a layer above that as well. I should have painted that in first. Which is also a faded, muted colour. Quite like saying that. Faded and muted. So to create distance, your background becomes a void of saturation of colour. Now, I'm not trying to get technical in this episode. It's just something to think about. These things become void of colour, including skies. And this sky was quite misty, actually. It was a misty day. I might leave a little bit of that paper showing through, because it works quite well for the horizon. So you can use your paper to create effects. Okay, something like that. I need that to be a little bit darker, I think. It's quite... Put a bit of red and blue in my colour. I find cadmium red, it dulls. It dulls quite a lot when you mix with it. It's not the best mixing colour, but it is. if you want your colour to dull, get a bit darker, but just sort of dull. Works quite well for that anyway. Might need to go a bit darker as it dries a bit. Anyway, we'll go darker here. Go a bit darker. I'm sort of pushing and pulling this colour a little bit. I just want it to just get that not too strong, soft sort of approach, and then we can do the next layer. Let's let that dry and we'll move forward a bit. So I do want a touch of colour in there though, a touch of green. Okay, quite like that. Then I'm going to put another layer on top of this with a bit more blue and green. A bit of yellow ochre as well on these trees about here. Put that in. That's going to be going along there. Just sort of looking. I sit back on my chair and sort of look at what's going on, and what I've noticed is I need a bit more green. I'm throwing in a bit of the green, a bit of the red, a bit of the blue, and seeing what I can create, a bit of yellow ochre as well. That might be a bit too much, but we'll see. Because I've done this a bit too low, it wants to be more like there. But I know there's all that colour on there, so it's going to fade a little bit anyway. And that hill goes up there. Something like that. Just wash my brush. I want a bit more brighter green, not so much the green that has been muted. I want some sap, more of a sap green with a bit of yellow in it. I want to start putting in this sort of light that comes across here. I'll just build this up slowly. We'll get the basics in first and then we can start playing a bit more. So got the sky in the background. There's some changes, very minor changes in the colour of the background as well. There's a bit of yellow here. In the field. And there's a tiny bit of green here. And then there's like treetops, so I might create that effect using another brush. Using this brush, my Cotman magic brush. So I want like a palish colour, but want it to be enough changes in it that it'll look like trees when I tap it on here. Not quite dark enough, you see. Go a bit darker. Yeah. So now I'm going to use this base to tap in a few like tree shapes. Actually tree tops. And to keep that texture, I'm not going to fill in it completely, I'm going to leave some spaces. And that area that's clear, like along here, throw in a little bit of yellow ochre in your mix as well. I'm going to do that just to change things up a little bit. Still quite blue and distant. Lots and lots of trees. Well, the indication of them anyway. Can do the same over here. You can change it a little bit, but it's a bit too far for there to be that much detail. I just think it'd be nice to have some slight changes. Anyway, leave that like that. Now with a bit more yellow ochre. A bit more yellow ochre in the green. Actually, I want to go a bit darker. So I'm grab some blue. Ultramarine blue and green. There's yellow ochre in there. Might need a bit of red as well. A bit of red. That's quite nice. So we want to break this area with some tree shape. I don't think that's quite dark enough. We'll carry on. I might go. I think I'll go a bit darker. A little bit darker. A little bit more blue. A little bit more red. A little bit more green. Got a load of trees here. Bit more of that yellow ochre. It's a little bit too bright. I wanted a little bit of a highlight just to see how that would look, but it's a little bit too bright. Go a bit more duller. I want some grass there, and then I want some trees sort of here and there. Bit of a mass of trees there. But I want to paint that grass in, and I want a bit of light in that grass. So I can use my yellows, get my yellows into my green. That warms that green up a bit. Maybe that paler yellow will help a bit more. You can always use both of them. That's probably quite nice. That looks quite nice. Let me try that anyway. So I've got my grass, my brighter grass comes up here. Like that. And on here. Paint them trees back in a minute. See, I've got all kinds of colours on this brush, and it kind of all comes off when you're painting. And I don't mind that, because you get different colours automatically then around each other, because you don't usually get the same greens. You get all kinds of different greens, all different ones. And it's quite good, that is, that you can do that with your paint. Change it like that. It's got a bit more the cooler yellow in, and then you can quickly switch to the warmer yellow. And then a bit duller around there where the shadow is, a bit more blue. Just using my finger just to blend that grass, make it look a bit smoother. Because it looks quite smooth in the I've got a photo, I'm just using it as a rough guide. I took it when I was in Derbyshire, I think it was Derbyshire. And I'm using it as a guide. I'm not painting it exactly, I've got to be honest. I like making places up, but using nature as a guide. So I got some trees, and some trees. And I want another tree right there. And another one there. So you decide where you want your trees to be. And then you can add your tree, you can give it a little bit of a highlight as well. I'm just picking up some green and yellow. It's just a bit of the green and yellow. Probably I need it to be more yellow ochre actually. Green, yellow ochre, let's see what that looks like. I want to capture a bit of light on one side, like that. So some of them, it's Just sort of think about the shape of the tree. Use my finger to get rid of some of the paint. Sort of blend it a little bit. Probably need to have gone a little bit lighter on the highlight. It'll do so far anyway. We can carry on. Just going to get a little bit of dark a few places just to shadow these trees. Okay, and then I want to get this area. There's some serious trees here. That'll probably mean that this. Actually, what I might do, a little bit of white and yellow. I want to just brighten this area up here, so it's getting a bit of sunlight. You know how when you get clouds and you get areas, you only get areas with the sun hitting it. Kind of like the idea that this is one of them areas, because that's basically what this lighting setup was like. The sun was just hitting some areas. Maybe a little bit in this. Have to be careful. Try not to overdo it too much. I think I took away some of that paint with my finger then. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's what I mean. You get them little light spots. I'm also going to do a little bit more light on a few of them trees, just on the edge. That one's pretty much been annihilated now. Never mind. So, I want to get this. So I'm going to get some more dark, some like blues, greens, maybe a bit of this brown as well. Throw that in there. A bit of the red, a bit of the green. So overall it's a dark green, isn't it? You can warm that up or cool it down, depends what you want to do. I might warm it up a little bit. So we've got a tree that lives here. He's right there. Boink. And then he's got another one next to him. Stood right there. And he's got another one there. And another one. Get that red in there. Red and blue. And a bit more of the green. A bit more green. Especially for this one here. I need a bit of this colour. Just to go on this hill as well. This hill goes down there. But there's actually some light in amongst it as well. Amongst this. Got some light, some dark, all sorts going on here. But yeah, it's interesting how you get those light pockets on a cloudy day though. That's really what this painting is. I'm just trying to get that green from behind there to poke through some of the areas of this tree. So I've filled that in a little bit too much. And there's a tree here. Okay, so we can now we've got that, we can start adding more light to the ground. So I'm just grabbing a bit more like lighter yellow. You can see how the light is just coming through there. And then it starts tapering away. And that's got some shadow there, so I don't want to cover that up. throw in some different warmer yellows. Something like that. There is actually, which I kind of like the idea of. There is a tree that lives just here behind that. Down that hill a bit. He's going to catch a little bit of light there. Not too much, just a little bit. Some hints of yellow. So I want to highlight some of these trees. Sort of a yellow ochre on. Sort of a yellow ochre and red. So I've got a yellow ochre, red, a bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of yellow ochre, just making a colour. This is just for one part of the tree. I just want this tree just to have a bit of that sort of colour. Sort of there. Just tap it with my finger, just remove some of it. So I don't want to go too light on this. I'll pick up a little bit of yellow, a lighter yellow in my green and get some of this, and then might go a little bit more blue. Sort of a quite like that shape actually. Different bushes and stuff in front. And we can always go a little bit lighter. Maybe there is some little areas that get a bit more light hitting it. You have to try and be careful not to get rid of all your dark when you're doing your trees, because it's easy to overdo the lights, I find, for me personally anyway, and then you lose out on some of the nice shapes that you have in. Just going to get rid of some, add a bit of texture to that. And then we need a bit of shadow here. A bit there as well. Okay. So I want to try and turn the light up a bit on in this shadow. Just a little bit. And I can put a little bit of dark along there. Yeah, something like that. Thinking I'm about there, I think. Just wanted to break this up a little bit. Maybe brighten the green up a little bit here. Yeah, I quite like that. I think that's got a good sense of distance, hasn't it? A sense of distance back there, and maybe I'll go on to my smaller brush. Where is it? It's underwater. I want to put in this little path. I'm just getting a little bit of blue, red, brown. Just goes there. Oops, had some on my finger. Never mind. More like that. Could be a path, could be a wall. Who knows? And then up here. So it doesn't really matter about that really, because I've got this tree. And it's growing down here. Well, we can leave that as it is. And it's picking up a bit of light at the tops. So we've got quite a lot of distance, which is what I wanted in this painting. So I'm quite happy with that. I feel like What I need still is a bit more light. I need a bit more light in places, sort of here. I can use this broken colour actually. Just to warm this area up a bit. A little bit more of a glimpse, a glimmer of light I should say. I think I'm about there with that. I'm about there. Using a bit of water just to smooth it over a little bit. Yeah, I do quite like that. Still think a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow just to capture some light. Back there. Just capture that little bit there. Because we've got that there and we had a bit there, so we'll capture that bit there and maybe a bit there. Yeah, and I think I will call that one finished. I say that and I want to put a bird in. I just want to put a little white one. There's a few back there. And I call that one finished. So thanks very much for watching this one. And I will see you at another one. Cheers, bye. Thank you.